Okay fellas, so I'm out here with the current hottest bait finesse reel of the moment. Of course, that's going to be the Haibo Arise Air, and we're going to test this thing out. Now the main objectives of this testing is going to be first to see if the brakes are adequate or functional, and hopefully they're not like the Haibo Steed. And secondly, we're going to cast around and find the limits for each rotor setting inside, because I know for anyone getting this reel, because it has so many brake settings, it's probably going to be a little bit overwhelming trying to figure out which one is going to be the best. And there may even be more than one answer to that question. Now I have the reel mounted on the Abu Garcia Salty Stage Bait Finesse Prototype 6'3" ultralight slow taper. I have 4-pound Seaguar 101 fluorocarbon filled probably almost to the top, and we're going to be throwing lures from 1/8 of an ounce all the way down to 1.5 grams, so under 1/16 of an ounce, both hard baits and soft plastics. And if we're lucky, we might actually catch something. Now out here in the daylight, I can definitely tell that the reel is a subtle two-tone. The frame has got more, I guess, metal flake in it than the side plates. The side plates are very subtle blue, but you can really see these clear blue knobs sparkling out in the sun, even though it's overcast today. So with that being said, let us begin. So Haibo made a pretty bold statement about the Arise Air, and they said that this reel is rated to cast down to 0.6 grams. So that's almost half a gram. Now, there are plenty of companies out there saying that their reels can cast down to 1 gram with no problem, like DAIWA, SHIMANO, Abu Garcia, KASTKING, but none of them have claimed to be able to cast down to 0.6 grams. Now we're not going to test that today. That's going to be in a different video. But the main focus of this video is going to be getting a feel of the brakes and testing each internal rotor setting for all the people out there who might be intimidated by just how many brake settings this reel has, which by my calculations is around 114. Okay, so first of all, as always, we're going to set the reel up. Now internally, I am going to use the number 3 rotor cup setting, which is the setting that gives us the most amount of braking. Yep, there we go. So in the number 3 setting, if you twist it to that, this rotor cup is going to be popped out the farthest. And of course, we're going to set the spool tension up. And I'm going to tighten it up to where there is just a minute bit of side-to-side play. And luckily, even though this spool tension knob does not click, turning and adjusting it is very precise. So it's very easy to get just the right amount of spool tension that you want. Okay. I think the drag is okay, and we're actually going to start out with the heaviest lure we're going to test. And that's going to be the Duo Spearhead Ryuki Yamame color. Weighs about 3.3 grams, so a little bit under 1/8 of an ounce. And this is a trout jerk bait, but who knows, maybe we'll be able to catch some non-trout with it. But I have the external dial jacked all the way up to the maximum setting. All right, let's cross our fingers that these brakes will work and we don't have a Haibo Steed 2.0 on our hands. Here we go, just an easy sidearm cast. Boom, wow. So first impressions is that the spool casts very smooth. The reel is a smooth caster, and there was not a hint of overrun on that cast. So far so good. Let's put a little bit more effort into it. Okay, we're probably getting about 25 yards with this maximum brake setting. And I think because of the crazy weather, even though it's pretty much the last day of April, the bass are still in pre-spawn mode because it's like 60 degrees right now. It's kind of chilly. All right, let's see if this can handle an overhead cast. Yes, it can. Pretty easily too. I'm going to be driving through Colorado again this summer, and I'm going to be bringing several reels with me, and this might be one of them. This might be one of the reels I bring. I really like the way how it feels when it casts. It's very smooth, but it does give like this slight humming, buzzing noise. It's not like the ALDEBARAN where it's just eerily quiet. Okay, so off camera, I'm going to dial the external dial as low as it'll go until I find the limit, and then I'll turn the camera back on to show you guys what it can do. But before that, let's do a couple of long casts so you guys can see where this jerkbait is landing. I estimate about 25 yards, maybe like 80 feet. Yep, it's pretty consistent in that distance. Okay, check this out, guys. So I was able to go 21 clicks back from the maximum position on the external brake dial. Now, if you're remembering the unboxing video, I said that there was a total of 38 settings, but I don't think I've even found the limit yet. Let me show you how far this reel can cast now. I probably gained about a good 10 foot on some of the longest casts. Hopefully you guys can see that. We'll do a few more. So we're getting at least 30 yards on these casts. Now, in the grand scheme of bait finesse reels, is that impressive? I'm going to say yes, because if you remember, this has a very small 28mm spool. Boom. So I don't think the DAIWA alphas can come close to that distance when casting this lure. And we have plenty of brake in reserve. I'm talking 21 clicks of brake if you need it. All right, I see this marauding bass trying to bring this jerkbait in front of him, and he is not even interested. All right, we'll do one more cast sidearm. And distance, wow. I would love to put this reel up against the 22 ALDEBARAN to see what's up. All right, guys, what I've done next is turn the internal rotor cup to the number 2 setting. So that means it's gonna have less braking internally, and the external dial has been set to the maximum position. And let's cast around. Okay, so the distance between the number 3 and the number 2 setting with the brakes turned to maximum, there's not a lot in it. Probably the number 2 setting is casting farther by like 5 feet, if that. So a little bit over 25 yards. Let's do a sidearm. But man, the casting distance on this reel is impressive. Very consistent distance as well. And yeah, we're probably getting a good at least 5 foot farther than the number 3 rotor cup setting. Man, it's just a pleasure casting this reel. It's so smooth. Cranking this little jerkbait in, it's smooth as well. All right, I'm gonna dial these brakes down and then show you what it can do. All right, guys, so while trying to push the limits, I guess, of the number 2 rotor cup setting, I had a pretty bad blow up that took like almost 5 whole minutes to pick out, but luckily I did. And let me show you the results. Now, the lowest I could go on the external dial was 7 clicks out for maximum. So that's a far cry from the 21 that we could do with the number 3 rotor cup setting. All right, that feels good enough. Ooh, all right, so the cast wasn't the best on my part. Had some good fluffing that worked itself out, but let me show you guys some good casts, or at least try to, because I think we were actually getting a little bit farther than the number 3 rotor cup setting, probably by less than 5 foot. All right. It looks to be about the same, but on some of these casts, I swear I was getting about a good 5 foot farther. All right, well, I'm going to turn the brake up 1 click. Okay, that was a good rainbow cast. Not the line drive I was looking for, but I think you guys get the picture. Maybe on a perfect cast, you probably get a little bit, just a little bit more distance with the number 2 rotor cup setting. Boom, just like that. That's one of the farthest casts yet, going well over 30 yards, probably approaching 100 foot in my estimation. All right, let's try one more. Okay, that was a bad cast. Bad cast on my part, but anyways, you guys get the picture. If you can master your cast stroke to get a nice line drive cast, there is a little bit extra distance to be had with the number 2 rotor cup setting. All right, guys, so it's time to live a little bit dangerously, and we're going to go to the number 1 rotor cup setting. That's going to give us the least amount of internal brakes. That rotor cup is positioned the farthest away from the magnets, and we're going to play it safe and jack the brakes up all the way to maximum on the external dial. Luckily the wind died down, but let's start casting. Oh shit. Wow. That wasn't even a full cast and I exploded this spool. So I think that tells us all we need to know about the number 1 rotor cup setting. At least for me and this particular lure, it is not going to be feasible. Maybe a heavier lure, something maybe 5 grams that cuts through the air, you'd be able to access it. But with this particular lure and this line, it doesn't look like I can even make 1 clean cast. See, I had to thumb that spool, but that cast, just a lob, went out there almost 30 yards. So this is a really, really free casting reel, which I like. Okay, we're gonna do one more cast and I'm gonna try to thumb the spool and see what happens. Wow, I had constant pressure on that spool and I did cast harder, but man. So hopefully you guys can see, at least for my ability, the number 1 rotor setting is pretty much going to be off limits. So let's get to an even lighter bait. All right, guys, so we're going to dip down to a lighter lure, soft plastic, crappie magnet with a 1/16 ounce Chinese jig head. I think it weighs about 2.5 grams or a little bit less. So we've dropped the lure weight almost 1 gram. Now I turned the internal rotor cup setting to 3. I think we're gonna keep it there for the remainder of the test. I've turned up the external dial all the way to maximum. And yeah, let's start casting. Let's see if I can hit that area where that fish just surfaced. Okay, so in this break setting, which is the maximum you can go, the lure went off to the left. Distance is awesome, but the lure is going off to the left. So the brakes are pretty strong. So even right there, I even tried to adjust my cast to go straight that way, but crappie magnet went out to the left. All right, so right there I had to release way early to get the lure to go straight. Now it's definitely not the spool, it shouldn't be. See right there, it went off to the left again. It is definitely the brakes, at least in my opinion, but let's test that theory and let me back these down. Okay, so I was actually able to match the brake setting of that heavier spearhead Ryuki lure by going 21 clicks for maximum on the external dial. And let me show you what this Arise Air can do. Boom. Now that issue with the lure going off to the left has disappeared, just like I thought it would. And we're getting probably at least 80 foot. At least 80 foot on these casts. Okay, overhead, no problem. I think this reel will give the Aldebaran a run for its money. Look at that, a crappie magnet, 2.5 grams or under. Now I'm sure I could, go in and adjust the brake cup to number 2, but I'm gonna let you guys who buy this reel do that on your own and find out what happens. But I just love casting this reel. It's such a free-flowing caster now, not to the level of the Aldebaran, but it's not far off either, right? It doesn't suddenly, towards the tail end of the cast, just choke off the distance like DAIWA's bait finesse reels do. So for someone who's been bait finessing for well over 10 years, I pretty much tried every bait finesse reel out there. It's pretty hard to impress me when it comes to, these new BFS reels, and this Arise Air is very impressive. Very, very impressive. Okay, so for the final lure of the day, we are going to be casting this little stonefly imitation with a trout slayer jig head. Total weight about 1.5 grams, so under 1/16 of an ounce. Now I'm around some fallen trees and a lot of snags right here, so it's going to be a good test of the accuracy of not only this reel but of myself. Okay, so we got the internal rotor cup once again on 3, and I turned up the external dial like 2 or 3 clicks from the last lure, so we're looking at about 18 clicks out for maximum. So we have plenty of brake power in reserve if we need it. And I do see some bluegill roaming around. Hopefully we can snag a couple of big ones. But here we go. Okay. Oh, we're on the first cast. Oh, he's trying to get in a tree. He's trying to get in a tree. Oh, he's in a tree. Oh, shoot. Nope, I got him out. Alright, so the first fish on the Haibo Arise Air. A hard fighting, I guess this is a bluegill. Wasn't strong enough to set off the drag clicker, but he is still fighting. So a fun little fight with that bluegill, and I've loosened the drag up so that hopefully a nice sized bluegill will be able to make this drag clicker sing. All right, I see some more bluegill right there. Pretty good size. Let's see if I can reach them. Oh, I think drag is a little too loose. Man, they struck at it. I guess they felt the steel and let go. But 1.5 grams, easy work for this Haibo Arise Air. All right, I see a bluegill right there. Let's see if I can reach it. I sure did, but I put it right on top of his head. Oh, another one was coming for it. Turned away at the last second. All right, let's see if I can see some more bluegill. They're like less than a foot below the surface. All right, there's one. Caught his attention. He's coming for it, and he didn't take it. Okay, I see some action over there. Let's see if we can reach out to the end of that fallen log. Almost. I think I can reach it. I just need to be a little bit more direct in my cast stroke. There we go. All right, I see a bluegill right there. I guess they're trying to eat bugs off the surface. Now the great thing about this lure, it takes a pretty big bluegill to be able to take it in his mouth. Okay, the sun came out, so they went deeper. I don't see any anymore. They kind of went down deeper. Okay, there's one, there's one. Or is that a bass? I guess I spooked them, because now when this lure hits the water, they kind of run. So we can probably get a good 20 yards with this 1.5 gram little soft bait. Let me see if I can bomb one out there. Yeah, we're getting at least 20 yards. Boom. That's got to be going over 60 feet. And we'll do a couple more before the sun goes back under the clouds. Okay, had a little overrun there on that cast. Yeah, I'm right on the edge of breaking, but wow, this Haibo Arise Air, probably the most impressive Chinese bait finesse reel I've tried so far. And believe me, I've tried all of them. Okay guys, so let's wrap up this video out here on the water while I'm casting around this Haibo Arise Air and give you my final initial impressions on it. Now I've tried pretty much every bait finesse reel out there. There are a few I haven't tried, but when it comes to the significant Chinese bait finesse reels, I've pretty much tried them all. Let's go down the list. I started off with the Tsurinoya XF50, then I got the Haibo Steed. I tried out the C-Night POTM, that was junk. I got probably the second most significant bait finesse reel coming out of China, the legendary Fishband GH100, where they started copying the Shimano brake technology. I tried the Spirit Fox, the Fishband PW100, and I tried so many, I'm trying to remember them all. Oh, there's the bluegill. He's kind of small. Come on, pull some drag. No, he can't pull drag. There we go. Oop, there There's the bass right there. I didn't even see him. All right, second official fish on the Haibo Arise Air.